What's good, my good people? Trade recap video. Today is June 24th, 2024, man. It's 4:30. Market is closed right now. I'm going to do a quick review on NQ, ES, gold, and crude oil. I dropped some zones last week in the Discord for those particular instruments as the core four that I'm always dropping. So I'm going to go through those four, and of course I dropped a bunch of bonus trades too. So the Russell, soy, heating oil, those are the main three I dropped. So I'm going to go through the ESNQ, gold, and crude oil to see what happened last week while I was out with the fam at Disney. So quick recap. Let's see. So ES, we'll start with that one, the big dog. Drew a bunch of demand zones. Of course, if you take a demand zone, you should not just, well, you can just go in and right click and set a limit order and see what happens. Take your chances. Or you could do what I do, wait on the confirmation entry, which is, coming down to like a lower time frame, a 5-minute zone or 5-minute time frame, watching price action. Or if you look at what I'm looking at a footprint chart actually. So I'm breaking it down to Unirenko bars, and I'm looking for stacked imbalances, some delta divergence, something to that effect. But if you're not looking at that and you're just waiting, let's see what those results would have been. If you took this demand zone, you had no reason to take it. If you set a limit order and it hit off the limit order, then you probably got stopped out with the stop loss behind here. Same thing with this zone, you would have been stopped out. This zone, if you waited for a confirmation, if you just did a regular limit order, you'd been stopped out. If you'd waited for a confirmation and wait for the candle to come in and even come back out, you would have had a nice at least 5-1 on that. More than 5, that's probably 10-1. 16 tick stop loss. You got 80, 88, 90. Of course, nobody takes it all the way to the top. Rarely do we get that. 100 ticks at least out of that. And this was 16 back. So I'll drop that back where it was. So if you took that one, you would have eaten. Flip side, if I take a zone, I always take the long and the short. So if this demand zone does not hold, I look to take the short. So if you took the breaks of those zones, that was an opportunity too. Just going for a 1-to-1 and maybe zone to zone after that. So if you took the break of this demand zone, you got out before this next zone, it was a successful win. It didn't play around and break and come back. Same thing with this zone. If you took the break of this zone and put the stop behind this zone, you at least got a 1-to-1 out of that. And then some, maybe 2-to-1 really. Let's drop that and see. This is 12 ticks. I'll bring it back to 12. Oh yeah, you got 24 easy coming down here after the zone was broken. Easily got 2-to-1 if you took that. I typically take a 1-to-1 and a 2-to-1. I like those. So you at least got that if you took that zone breakout. Same thing with this one. This one would have failed you. You want to wait for a candle to close, a Renko bar or something, or look at some order flow. Otherwise, if you just put an order on the side of this zone, it would have stopped you out. You would have stopped out. It would have got you in short. Stop would have been back here. You would have been stopped out. So I wouldn't have taken that one. That is the ES. We'll see what new zones we come up with after this. Let's see. And of course I was out with the fam, so I didn't draw new zones while I was out. So that's how ES played out. Let's look at NQ. NQ, same thing. I always come down to a 5-minute. These were the demand zones drawn last week. I did that on Wednesday, I want to say. I could just go straight to the Discord. When did we drop those, Mr. Taylor? We dropped them on the 19th. So everything was dropped on the 19th. 11:30 p.m. is when I dropped these. So if we come real time, 19th. So anything past this point, we're good. Midnight. Well, no, next day, 8 o'clock, this zone hit on NQ. You at least got 2 to 1 out of that. That demand zone worked out. If you took the breakout after that, which is what I do, I take the zone long and short. If it doesn't hold up for the long, that means the buyers are gone, so we may go short. So you took the long that day on the 20th, you would have won. If you would have taken the short also, you at least got 1 to 1. Looks like 2 to 1. So you would have won on the short before it came back. I would have done nothing on that second attempt unless, you know, you got a nice confirmation like you did here and tried to go short. But either way, that one lost. But if you took it a second time, I only normally take them once. One and done for me, unless I got a nice confirmation entry with some order flow. Next thing, my good folks, lower demand zone. You had no reason to take that one. This is a 5-minute, no confirmation entry. To take the long, I would have taken the short, breakout, zone to zone. Mwah, perfect. Break of this demand zone, down to the next demand zone. Perfect. At least a 2 to 1 at least, and a little bit more. If you took the next zone, you got a confirmation entry, I would have been looking at order flow. Or you could also look at Bookmap, which is something else I use. And you would look for new, fresh orders in there. New level 2 orders. Sitting, waiting. Let's reconnect to Bookmap so you can see what that may look like. I keep it simple. I'm looking for... And I'm getting a lot of connection loss. I don't know what's up with that, guys. Oh, it's not 5 o'clock yet. Market is closed. Let's just disconnect with Apex. I look for a thick stack of orders. You know, thick red lines or thick orange lines. Or I'm looking at the order book here also. The volume profile, session volume profile, or the current order book profile. I'm looking for red. A lot of orders. That's what I'm looking for at those levels. So if I would have seen that stacking up here, I would have taken an order there. Or if I saw something on the footprint chart, that would have been a nice confirmation entry. You at least got 3, 4 to 1 out, maybe 3 to 1 out of that easily. The break on the next one, wait for a close or some sort of confirmation. We didn't really get a clean confirmation on that. I would have not gone short on that one. After the demand zone, you know, broke the first time, demand can become support. So you got to pull back to that demand zone, which became support, and it just kept going lower. I wouldn't have taken this demand zone twice because it already hit once, and we're in the major downtrend. So I wouldn't have taken that one twice. I would have waited for the break and a close. This one did break and close. On the 5 minutes, you're probably thinking, dude, that's a big candle to wait for the close way down there. So if you did take it the first time and lost, okay, you got to win on the long, so your loss should be smaller than your win on the first one. 3 to 1 versus a 1 to 1. That's fine. Second time it broke out, we did go into a value session low. I didn't have that marked off though, so there would have been no trade on that for me. Came back to that demand zone again, nothing for me. I would have been done. That's how those demand zones played out. So one of them for a 1 to 1, more 2 to 1 on the reversal, breakout 1, breakout 1, reversal did not even activate, reversal 1 on here, breakout loss if you took just a regular stop order past that, but if you waited a little more and got some confirmation with Bookmap or footprint chart, you would have had a successful at least 2 to 1 maybe breakout. More than once. That's NQ. Let's look at gold. I said gold. I did the same thing. Had a supply zone and a demand zone. This is the 20th. I dropped these on the 19th. That night, same night, the supply zone actually worked out. Let's go to a 5 minute. The supply zone did work out. Let's add a little more data. got 5 days on here. Let's go 10. Apply. All right. If you're on a 5-minute, here's that demand zone. You could have waited for a confirmation candle because that was a pretty big zone. So your confirmation could have been wait on this red reversal candle after this wiki candle, which was bearish. Stop loss back here. Go for your 1-to-1 at least, which was around here. 2-to-1, you probably got that too, depending on where you entered. At least close to a 2-to-1. 260, 255, that's 5 points. Roughly 250 is 5 points. 245 is 5 more. Yep, 255.3. So 245.3 was the bottom. 2-to-1 if you took it like that. So that's the short played out. Now I don't want it more than once unless I get a nice confirmation. Now if I'm looking at order flow this second time it wicked up here into this new supply zone that was created inside of a zone, zone on zone, this big move down, you could have taken that one. That would have been a nice one. I would have got in here, stop loss back there. Bam, that one won. If you get some more confirmation, you could go again. If you got confirmation again on this candle with some order flow, boom, you ate again. Then it finally broke out. I would have waited for some sort of confirmation, some stacked imbalances, looked at the book map to see if the orders had cleared out. It looks like they did because you had this concave area with the volume profile. Then you take the breakout to the upside. Breakout ran 1-to-1 roughly here. Let's see, we're going by 5-point increments. Let's say this is 1-to-1. 2-to-1 around 70, 75 around 3-to-1. Easily, almost 4. But let's call it 3-to-1 on that. Easily if you just went for 5 points on each exit. 5, 10, 15. So you got the short on that and the long breakout. I did not have any more 30-minute zones drawn. From a supply standpoint, I was out with the fam at Disney. The demand zone never triggered from where I drew it. And I'm fine with that. So that demand zone is still active for me. And I'm going to extend that out to the 25th for now. Still a zone for me. Let's see what crude oil is looking like. CL. What happened on CL? I only had a demand zone drawn and we never triggered that demand zone. And I'm fine with it. A lot of volume there. Nice volume profile area. I'm going to extend that one out to the 25th. Apply. And that's what I have. I'll mark up new zones and drop those, but that's the recap of those 4 trades. Now, if you are a person that got those bonus drops, trade ideas, let's look at the Russell. That was one I dropped. The Russell was the 19th also. I dropped all those on the 19th. Man, the 20th, it triggered at 9 in the morning. You got that supply zone hit. Bam. Always on the zone. You also had the demand zone hit first that morning. Demand zone hit went all the way to supply. You at least got, oh man, at least a 4 or 5-to-1. This is 37 ticks. I'll remember that. Bam, bam, bam. 1-to-1. 37 times 2 was what? 74. So you at least got 2-to-1. 74 times, let's go 75 times 2 is 150. That makes that a 4-to-1. Yeah, another 37 on top of it. That's 180, 92. Bam. 5-to-1 on that easily. Rough math, guys. So 37 was what I had as the stop. And that was me going right behind the wick of this area to the left. If I would have went a little lower and maybe encompassed this little rally-based rally, you know, we wouldn't have triggered that. It would have been stopped out the second attempt over here, but I went with what I went with, which I'm fine with because it played out, especially if you took a confirmation entry. So you got a 5-1 on this one. At least 2-1 on the supply zone. It was a bigger zone. That played out. The break of the demand zone did not work out if you took the break, depending on your confirmation entry. Almost a 1-1, but not quite. But you more than made up for it on the short and the long that you got right off the rip. Price came back again to that supply zone. No confirmation. I mean, you could have took this big. That's a 30-minute chart. Let's go to the 5. You could have took this big 5-minute candle around here somewhere. Inside of that zone, it didn't really go far. You could have got something out of it if you took a confirmation. Let's extend that zone and zoom in. Zoom in and extend. Let's see. I'm extending out to the 25th still. Let's just keep it there at 2.5. Bam, bam, bam. We came in looking inside the candles. No reason to just take it right off the rip. If you took this short after this red candle, I would have stopped behind this high target, at least a 1-1 on that. Let's just play it out to see what that would have looked like. Let me use the little ruler tool that comes with NinjaTrader by default. So let's say you took the break of this candle. Well, you got in at the close of this candle. A little slippage. We're humans. We're not going to be lightning fast like the computer. The tick above. That's 4.6 is the range. 4.6 points. So 4.6. You got your 1-1. Even if you got in a little later, you know, with slippage, you still had time to get your 1-1 if you reacted quickly. 1-1, then go to break even, then you stopped out after that at break even at this point, which is fine. Let's go back to the 30. What else did I have? That was it. If you took the long breakout, depending on how you took it and what you saw, you know, that would have been a loss if you took that long breakout. But if you looked at a confirmation style of entry, maybe you wouldn't have been stopped out. If you want to know more about those advanced entry techniques, I'm dropping a course on that. I'll show you my exact techniques for order flow entries with the footprint chart and bookmap. Let's see, that was the Russell. Let's keep going. What else did you drop, sir? I don't know. Let me go back to the Discord. 8 screen setup, guys. So let's see. I also dropped soy. ZS. That was a bonus one. What did we drop, sir? We dropped a demand zone and a supply zone. But that was on the July contract. Open in browser. If you look at the bottom, this is the ZS Soy July contract. That contract expired. I rolled over. So now we are on the November contract. So all these zones are going to be out of place. So I'm going to go back, show you a little trick. That was July. I'm going to change this ZS 11 to 07. Hit enter. Now I can see the 07 contract, the July. All right. I dropped these on the 19th or after midnight, before midnight. Some of this had already played out. We were already here at the 1175 by the time I dropped these zones. So let's see what happened. Just being transparent. That had already played by the time I dropped the zone. The demand zone had not been touched. We did not get a clean confirmation, no reversal candle, no anything. So you could take the break and go zone to zone, get out right away. That would have worked out for you. Same thing with this buy reversal. You got a confirmation here. You could have taken that. That's a 30-minute. Let's go to a 5. On a 5-minute, you could have taken that as a confirmation entry. It's a big candle. I don't like the confirmation entries where you wait for the candle to come out and close. You gave up too much by then. I would have been looking inside the zone to see if I got some sort of exhaustion or delta. I'm looking at volume turnaround. So more than likely on this one, I probably could have gotten a 1-to-1. Let's see, that's 9 ticks stop loss. 9 ticks would have been the TP. That's 7, 8, 9 ticks is here. So I could have gotten 9 ticks out of that myself, depending on where I got in. But I would have been going for 9. So you would have tapped your 1-to-1 there. Break even after that, depending on where you entered. And this is also assuming I entered around the proximal line of the zone, so the 1158. After that, you got a fake breakout, stopped out some folks. If you went short, you took an L on that. 9 ticks, so it would have been a wash. And that old demand zone became supply, and that's where we are today. And if you notice, soy has not moved. Well, I'm sorry, that was the July. So we went back to that demand zone. It turned supply. Looks like it's trying to. Let's go back to. Now you could put 11-24. I could put November in here. November. So of course those zones are not valid anymore. So I'll be drawing new zones. Looks like it did try to turn to supply somewhere around there. Yeah, you got a nasty drop after this. 22nd. Try to rally back later. So I'll be updating these zones on soy since the contract rolled over. Heating oil. HO. H to the Izzo. Had a couple of demand zones. I really like this setup the most. The heating oil, we had a clear bull channel, favorite thing. I love channels and zones, especially when they align and you can get some confluence. We did not tap the supply zone here at 2.5220. Missed it by that much. Like you said, it's on Get Smart. It did come back later in that zone. Did not break through it, barely wicked below it possibly. If you wait for a confirmation, even with the confirmation, depending on where you got in, if you got in here at this green candle, that's a 30. Let's go to a 5. If you got in on that green candle somewhere around here, let's expand this so you can see. Let's turn chart trader to hidden. Properties, let's expand this zone to the 25th. Now this is not as WYSIWYG easy as Ninja Trader, Trading View. You gotta play with the tools a little differently, but it's more customizable. If you took this confirmation candle here, stop back there, you at least got 1-to-1 out of that and then break even. If you took this close after this demand zone and put a stop behind here, you may have not gotten 1-to-1 initially, but you had a value area here, so I would have closed at that area or targeted that area, target some structure. And it existed back here too, so you had that same volume profile area. So that was a good target. Close to 1-to-1, probably. No, not close to 1-to-1, but high probable area. Go for the probable target. Go for the line. Hit the target. Hit the bullseye. That's the name of the game. Might not always be a perfect 1-to-1, but this line was there. This line was there. Both clean targets to go for. If you took any one of those targets, you were out. Second time around, another confirmation. Didn't run that much. Probably wouldn't have taken that. Order flow would tell you more. The time of day was 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I was asleep then, so Nothing there. Heating oil didn't do a ton yet. Still demand zone in play for me. I'll be watching that area and the rest of these areas to see how they play out. So look for new updates, guys. I will drop them in the Discord in the same place as always in the Discord. ES will be in the ES section, NQ gold, crude oil, and the bonus ideas will be here. Trade results videos. I thought about dropping the charts in there right after they happen, but I think that's a bit much. So I think I'm going to go with this. Drop these videos, throw them on YouTube, upload them to the Discord and the YouTube link so you can see results that way. It's a lot faster and more efficient for me. And then you guys can kind of hear more articulately how I decide to get in or out of the trade. So it'll be my free trade recap videos. That's where you'll see the results. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. We jumped around a lot, but yeah, that's how it played out this week. So I think I'll do these every other day, maybe daily. It depends on how the market moves, and keep you guys posted. So deuces.